Have you heard the phrase owning your power? Have you wondered what that is and how you could actually implement that in your life and relationships? Well, many of us feel stuck in our difficult relationships because there's things in them that we want changed. We know they're not good, they're not healthy, they're not okay for us and the relationship, but we're powerless to make them change because that involves the other person making a choice. And when other people don't want to change what is hurting us, then we often feel like hopeless and resigned to just having to give in and accept things as they are. But when we use the phrase owning your power, what we mean is that you have the ability to make something happen or to produce an effect on the person, the relationship, or yourself. In other words, you can actually make a choice and change something. Maybe not the other person in the exact way you want them to change, but you can own your power, own it, it's yours. Use your power, own your power to produce an effect to make something happen. So, here are some examples of owning your power. Make choices about how you respond. Huge. That can make a profound change in your life and relationships. To change how you respond, to quit reacting, to quit getting angry, to quit nagging, to quit pushing, to make choices about you instead, to make choices about, are you willing to engage in a conversation? Are you not? Do you defend yourself? Do you not defend yourself? Do you choose to go somewhere when the other person won't go so that you still get to go? There's all kinds of things that you can do about choosing how to respond that makes a huge change. Say no to anything you don't want to do, especially those things that are just completely a choice. And there's some things that we don't want to do, like get up and go to work or clean the house. Of course, we're going to choose to do those when we need to because those are our responsibilities. But there's a whole lot of things that are presented to you that you can say no to. You can say no to any request that someone makes of you. You can say no to anything any conversation that somebody invites you to have. You can say, I don't choose to talk about that. I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to comment on that. That doesn't deserve my response. Or I have nothing to say. Or don't say anything. Just don't respond. So, and say no to going places, to doing things, to helping people anytime you don't want to. Say yes to what you want to do. Yes is a boundary just as much as no is a boundary because yes says, I'll do that. No says, I won't do that. When you say, I'll do that, you're giving permission for that to come into your life. Remember, when you're in a relationship and there's somebody who's telling you you can't do things, the person doesn't have a right to tell you you can't do those, right? Your spouse does not have a right to control your life, even if you believe that you need to submit. Your husband does not get to tell you you can't see your friends, you can't do anything on your own, you can't leave the house during the day. Those are still choices that you have a right to make. So you can say yes. You can say, yes, I'll participate in that Bible study. Yes, I'll go to lunch with you as a friend. I will accept that play date for our kids. Or, yes, I'll come to that church retreat. You get to say yes to things just as much as you get to say no to things. Speak your truth. That is very much owning your power. You have the right to say anything. People ask me all the time, well, should I say this or should I say that? Is it okay? And I say, you can say anything you want. Anything that you feel that you need to say to a person in a relationship with you, you get to say. Now, you need to ask yourself, what's going to happen when I say that? Is there going to be repercussions? Is it going to do any good, or is it just going to stir up trouble? Those are questions you ask yourself, but you can own your power to speak your truth anytime, anywhere. Next one is to stand in your truth. Why is that part of owning your power? Because standing in your truth is an exercise of strength. When you stand in your truth, you say, you can't make me invalidate myself. You can't make me abandon what I know is true for me. You can't take that away from me. No matter what somebody else believes, doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean that your truth isn't yours. I don't mean the capital T truth of God's word is the truth and all of those things. I'm talking about what you know to be true for you, what hurts you, what you need, what you don't like, what you want, all of those things. That's your truth. Stand in your truth. Don't let anyone make you abandon yourself. You can't convince them, give it up. Can't make them tell you, okay, it's okay for you, especially a controlling, manipulative, abusive, narcissistic person. No, not going to admit your truth is right for you. Not going to listen, but you can stand in it. Next one, let go of unreasonable expectations. Why is this part of owning your power? Because you own the power of what you're going to allow to upset you, what you're going to allow to get you off course. When you hold unrealistic expectations for the relationship you're in, not unrealistic expectations that are givens in any relationships, like, sure, your spouse should be faithful, your spouse should come home, people shouldn't drink too much, everyone should go to their job, take care of their responsibilities, speak respectfully to each other. Those are all reasonable expectations. Here's the problem. If you're in a relationship where those things aren't happening and you know it, and you know they're going to continue to happen, as they usually do, then you have to let go of the hope that the person is going to change so that you don't go on this roller coaster of hope, despair, hope, despair, hope, disappointment. You've got to accept what is likely for your relationship and own your power to control what you set yourself up for. Don't set yourself up to believe in unrealistic expectations. The next one is to take care of yourself. Yes, you are responsible to take care of you, nobody else. You are given that responsibility. Remember in Ephesians 5:29, Paul talks to the husbands and he says, love your wives like you love your own bodies, because no one neglects their own bodies. You are to take care of you. You don't need anybody's permission to take care of yourself. You need to rest. You need exercise. You need to eat well. You need relationships. You need spiritual food. You need time, time to pursue your own desires and your own passions. And you are the one that gets to take care of yourself. Do a good job. You're the only one who can. The next one is to end a conversation anytime, for any reason. You can say, I'm done talking about this. I'm not willing to continue. I need a break. We'll get back to this. Let me think about this. Or, no, I'm not willing to discuss this. You could say something like, we've already talked about this. That's as much as I'm willing to say. We've talked about this before, hasn't gotten anywhere. I'm not willing to talk about it again. You can end a conversation. Own your power to end conversations. Next one. You can leave a place that you don't want to be, even a family party, even a work party. You can leave anytime that it is uncomfortable for you, anytime that your boundaries are being violated. You can leave when somebody is getting in a bad mood and it's no longer comfortable, when somebody is mistreating you, when things are just getting too dysfunctional, too toxic, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling upset, it doesn't matter. You don't have to stay. You can end a vacation soon. You can end a family trip soon. You can cancel a family trip, okay? You can leave a place that you don't want to be. You can get a cab. You can get an Uber. You can take the car and let the person who's drinking get the Uber, and you can go. Next one is to detach from anger, guilt, blame, and accusations. You don't have to take those on. You don't have to respond to anger, guilt, blame, or accusations. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to talk the person out of them. Most likely, if they're inaccurate, the person has an agenda, you're not going to talk them out of them anyway. You can detach from them and say to yourself, I'm not taking this on. This is not about me. This is the other person's agenda. This is the other person's stuff. Or you can say, and you can recognize, I'm not going to be able to argue and defend myself, most likely with this person. But you can say something like, that is not true. I'm not taking that on. That's not about me. I'm not owning that. I'm not accepting blame for that. Any of those things. You can say nothing. But the most important thing is that you have the power not to stop the person from saying those things or from believing those things, but you have the power to not own them, to not take them on, to not accept them, to not let them rattle you, but to let them go. The next one is to refuse to be manipulated or controlled. You cannot make someone else stop manipulating you or stop trying to control you. But you can decide whether you will fall for the manipulation and give in, or whether you will allow the person to control you. That person has zero power to manipulate you or control you if you say no and don't let it happen. Pretty powerful. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is true. Absolutely. You own a whole lot of power. All of us do. And we give it up and we forget that it's ours. We willingly allow people to convince us. So I don't want to get sidetracked here. You can stop enabling something that isn't healthy. Enabling is something we do when we're anxious and we're worried and give in to kind of take care of the other person, but we give them the means with which they can continue doing what they're doing. So we have to recognize that we can stop enabling. Enabling isn't healthy. It's not good for the other person. It's not good for us. It means we're going to get more of what we don't like, but we have to choose to stop doing that. Next one is to do the right thing even when you're afraid. It's a misunderstanding that most people have peace before they make a courageous step and step up to something that they're afraid to do, like set a boundary or leave a relationship that's toxic or confront somebody about something that needs to be talked about that's going to be difficult, or quit a job, end a relationship, break up with somebody. But you can live a life in which you know, I'm going to confront my fears and I'm going to do the right thing even when I'm afraid. That takes power. That takes owning your power. The next one is to live your life in spite of what others are doing. That's your power. Only you can live your life. You can give it up. You can live your life. No matter if you have family members that are abusing and using substances or activities that are hurting their lives, hurting your relationship. If you have people in your life that are depressed, that are anxious, people that are not working, if you have manipulative people, if you have narcissistic people, you have angry people, you have malicious people, the list goes on and on and on and on. Any of those people, in your life. You can't control them. Okay. You can choose, though, to stop your life and wait for the people to get better, or you can live your life in spite of what they're doing. And that is a huge, powerful thing that you can do. You can live. That's part of detachment. Live and let live. You live your life, even though other people, you live your life, even though your marriage isn't what you wanted it to be. You figure out a way to make yourself happy. You figure out a way to follow your dreams and to do the things that you've wanted to do. You live your life even though you have a child that's disabled or a child that has some mental health problems. You still live your life. You don't give it up. You don't stop seeing friends, pursuing things, following your dreams. You live. And that is huge. The next one says, and a whole lot more. So a whole lot more of things, but I think those are powerful. I'm going to link this article to where you can actually print it out because I think it's such a awesome list. It is one of my devotions that I have a devotional subscriber subscription that you can do where when you go subscribe to my emails, you get a devotion about every 8 days, and you get a notice that I put out a new YouTube video or a new podcast, and you get notices about my classes or any other events that I speak at. So it's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. So this is an example of a devotion that you would get. But I'm going to put this so where you can link it and print it out. Now, what keeps us from owning our power? A lot of things. Believing lies that other people tell you that you can't own your power. Your spouse says, you can't make decisions on your own. You have to submit to me. You have to do everything I say. Or your parent says, you have to listen to me. I'm your parent. You're not married. You have to fall under my umbrella or my covering, and you're still in my home, and you have to run your decisions by me. When other people tell you that you can't do something, if you believe it, you will be giving away your power. Listening to your fears and not doing what you know you should. So if the fear becomes more powerful than the courage to step out and do what is right, then you're going to give up your power. And you don't want to do that. You want to own that. Leave it 2 Timothy 1:7 that said, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Do you know what a sound mind is? A sound mind is a mind that you can weigh things and you can make a correct judgment. So you can think about things and you can go through things, but then in the end, you make a sound or a right judgment. And you heard the word power in there. So if you don't have the power in yourself, then God can, through his power, you can have the power to do this. Next one is reacting to reduce your anxiety. Okay, when we're in dysfunctional relationships, there's a lot of anxiety. The anxiety is that jumpiness, that restlessness, that worry, that feeling that things aren't right, and we look at what somebody's doing that we care about and we say, oh no, they're using drugs or making dangerous decisions, they're making bad decisions, they're doing things that are hurting us, and we feel anxious, and the anxiety is saying, do something, fix this isn't comfortable. If you give in to that anxiety, you're going to react instead of act, and the anxiety is going to drive you. That's what drives enabling, that's what drives fixing, that's what drives the arguing and the trying to explain and the trying to convince and the obsessing and the searching and the nagging. All of that is from anxiety. So you won't own your power if you react and give in to your anxiety. Worrying about other people's reactions. If that's what your focus is, then you're going to completely give your power away, because if you worry about, oh my gosh, if I say this, if I say no, if I say I want to end this conversation, if I say that I'm going to leave now, or if I say I'm going to go out tonight with my friend, then the person's going to get upset. If you focus on that instead of owning your power, you're going to give it away. Not knowing what you want and need. And that's part of codependency. Not knowing what you want and need is, well, what do I like? What do I want? Do I want to say no? Do I want to say yes? Like what is, yeah, you got to learn that. That's part of dealing with your codependency. And one of the first things that you do when you're working on codependency is ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? What do I need? What do I like? And you got to answer those questions. So figure that out. And then the next one is not knowing your truth. Another huge problem with codependency or people that are in difficult relationships is we lose it. We lose our truth, partially because it's confusing and the dilemmas are complex and there's a lot of pressure from the dysfunction, and we react and then we feel bad, feel guilty, and we're trying to figure out what's going on, and the other person's saying a lot of things to us. So yeah, you've got to figure out what's going on with you, what is your truth, and that's probably going to be one of the first things that you're going to do when you start to own your power. It's going to be easier to own your power when you know what your truth is, because once you know it and you hang on to it, it's much easier to say no to things and to hold on to it than if you're kind of going back and forth. James talks about a person who's a double-minded man is unstable in all their ways. It's kind of waffling back and forth, and that's not knowing your truth. So work on knowing your truth. What's true for you? It's all things that are well within your reach that you can do. So owning your power is a process that takes time. You need to learn it one baby step at a time, and recognize that no matter who you are in a relationship with, that you have the right to be a separate person and to take care of yourself and to own your power to live your life. Here are some verses. Proverbs 12:11 says, those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies have no sense. I like that one because that's basically saying, hey, what you do, what you choose, has a direct effect on what you get. So remember, you have the power to invest in your life and to make choices. And there's a lot of cause and effect in our life. You choose to plant crops, you're going to have abundant food. You better do that if you need food to live on and you can't go buy it at the store. So that's really a great verse. And Psalm 129, 1-4 says, they have greatly oppressed me from my youth, let Israel say. They have greatly oppressed me from my youth, but they have not gained the victory over me. Plowmen have plowed my back and made their furrows long, but the Lord is righteous, and he has cut me free from the cords of the wicked. Do you know that God wants you to be cut free from the cords of the wicked? He wants you to have the freedom to not be controlled by people who do not have your best interest in mind. He does not want you to be controlled by those people. He does not want you to be able to not be able to say no and take care of yourself. And we know Matthew 5 talks about let your yes be yes and your no be no. So that's owning your power with that. And there are so many other scriptures that talk about owning your power. You are accountable for your life before God. Okay. You are accountable. I believe it's Romans 14:10 talks about each one of us will give an account of our lives to God. Our lives, not the other person's life, your life. You will give an account for your life. I will give an account for my life. The difficult person will give an account for his or her life. If we have a responsibility and we will give an account for our life, then that means that we have the power to make choices for our life. Meditate on that. And I would highly recommend that you click on the link and let's download this so you can use this kind of as a reminder of how much power you have, no matter who you are in a relationship with, no matter what the problems are that you are dealing with. So I hope this video was helpful, and I have so many videos and resources, studies, books, and things. Please take time to check out my website. I think you will find it really, really helpful. And I am starting to put my YouTube videos up also on my podcast channel, Change My Relationship. So if you need to listen to these kind of on the go and you don't want to have to sit in front of a video, please check that out. And I hope you share my resources and my videos, podcasts with other people. They're super helpful, and that blesses me and helps my ministry to affect more people, which is my goal. Thank you.